I have seen the body cam footage. It's harrowing.
So I was done recording the video and I got some breaking news, so I'm going to front load it at the start of the video. One of the police officers who arrested Henry Novak has actually resigned.
Well, some breaking news from Hampshire Police in the last few moments regarding this case. We have heard that one of the case officers in the Henry Novak case has resigned. 3 of the officers, we're told, are still serving, but 1 officer has resigned. The statement saying, quite simply, as the IOPC has confirmed, they are all being treated as witnesses, so not subject to any current restrictions. So 1 officer involved in this case has resigned from Hampshire Police.
Before we continue the video that I've already recorded, I just want to add that what I'm predicting is you're going to see more resignations from the police officers, and it's probably going to be so depressing for them that they might actually start to unalive themselves. I know that sounds extreme. I'm not saying I advocate for that, but I do think that it's going to take a massive mental toll. Anyways, here's the video that I just recorded. I think the biggest enemy to people like you and I is the media and governments. They are lying, they are gaslighting, and it's all propaganda, okay? What just took place in the UK is devastating, but it was absolutely avoidable, and Keir Starmer faces that reality in this video I'm going to show you, and he doubles down on the disgusting rhetoric and the disgusting policies that have led to what's happening right now in the UK. So let's just get right into this, right? Keir Starmer says that he won't remove the exception which allows Sikhs to carry large ceremonial knives on them. Meanwhile, English women are being prosecuted for carrying regular pepper spray on them out in the streets at night. Then Norwegian media was finally forced to cover Henry's murder this morning, and they actually made it look like he was the killer. Here's Henry, the 18-year-old student that was murdered, okay? Killed student with knife, sentenced to life in prison. Why would they use this photo? He's the one that died. It's absolutely disgusting, bro. And then you got Benny Johnson that's reporting that the New York Times stories on Henry Novak, 0. Not a single one. New York Times stories on George Floyd, 6,397. Ultimate propaganda. It's disgusting. And this imagery here is haunting people, man. Henry Novak was mortally wounded by a hostile foreigner, held down and arrested by white police because he was accused of racism by his own murderer. And when he bled out and died on the streets, this is what's happening to European civilization on a global scale. This photo right here is just haunting people, man. And then you got Nigel, the leader of the Reform Party, has this to say about this situation because it's just so appalling.
We need a change in culture. Enough of anti-white prejudice. A promotion of the idea that white lives matter just as much as black lives. An end to DEI and positive discrimination, but a country that treats everybody equally and fairly before the law. This is serious. This is urgent. I fear for where our society will be in a few short years if we don't grip this and do it very, very quickly. I want to send my sincerest condolences, the country's sincerest condolences to Henry's family. I hope this is the last time a British police force operates in this way.
I gotta say, man, this is radicalizing a whole next generation of people. Like, this is making people so angry at the system, and kind of, albeit rightfully so, but it's actually starting to radicalize people. The British Sikh community, okay, they hopped on to the media and they made this video. They condemn the attack, but they're saying that we're not putting our daggers away. We're not putting our weapons away, because that's what they are. It's the only community out there that's allowed to carry weapons. Even samurais, they're not allowed to carry weapons out in, you know, Britain or in America or in Canada and Australia, because it's not a religious exemption like the Sikh dagger.
We condemn this action fully, as in the strongest terms. There's no space for this, and anybody who is been convinced by this or unclear will be very categorical. This individual, Vikram Digwa, lied in his statements. It's clear that he did not intend to go out to kill Henry Novak. His intention wasn't to seek confrontation or to have any altercation. It happened. They were out on the street. It happened. It escalated. After it escalated, as I said earlier, Vikram had the choice. He chose to do what he did, and for that he is solely responsible. But with that action, it's brought the whole Sikh community into the spotlight. Whether intended or unintended, we now have to deal with that. And we have to now not only repair the damage done, but we have to collectively protect not only the community, but the Kakar as well. So this was an important message that we had to share with you today, because we were restricted with what we could say formally on the television. But it was his choice to draw a weapon and use it in an offensive manner. That does not correlate with the Sikh tenets of the Sikh faith.
Yeah, yes and no. I think like it's a very weird situation, because obviously it paints the Sikh community in a really bad light. But what's kind of their own doing is the fact that they still want to carry their daggers, bro. Leave the daggers at home. You don't get this religious exemption, and this is you're gonna have international riots and protests because of this right now, because now everyone's starting to be a little bit more aware of what's going on, and people are fed up and people are scared. Rightfully so, they're scared. You're walking around and Sikhs get to carry a freaking massive blade because of religion? Get bent, dude. That's crazy. And the protests have already begun. Thousands are gathering outside of Southampton Police, sorry for the slip-ups here, station, demanding justice for Henry Novak. Yeah, fucking rights. I absolutely support these types of protests, because you know what? The world tried pushing in our faces the whole George Floyd thing, and he was a cracked out freaking addict and whatever, right? That's its own story. But yeah, absolutely. The protests of I Can't Breathe, that's going to happen in every country around the world because of this stupidity from the Britain police and the Britain government, and it's going to spark outrage. I'm telling you, give it to the weekend. You're going to see massive I Can't Breathe protests happening in America, in Canada, in Australia. They're going to continue in UK and around Europe. It's coming. It's coming. Wow.
I think Bobby's still in the wrong position here.
Bro, the police are so lucky that these protesters are being peaceful right now. They are so lucky that this hasn't escalated to the point where the George Floyd shit took off, right? Throwing Molotov cocktails, burning vehicles, looting and rioting and breaking storefronts and invading police stations and taking it over. Like, they're actually lucky that it hasn't gotten to that point. And I'm not by any means encouraging it to escalate to that point. I'm just pointing out the obvious, that when it was a black guy that died because I can't breathe, and it got shoved in your faces by the mainstream media and the legacy, and that was the whole narrative from all the governments. They all stood in solidarity. Keir Starmer took a knee, Biden took a knee, Trudeau took a knee, right? All these world leaders took a knee, and they're like, oh, I stand with the black crackhead that died, right? Because the police officer was doing his job, whatever. What happened here is this is actually like, if you replace what should have the outrage for what the events were, it should almost be reversed. The George Floyd outrage should kind of be the outrage that people have right now with this, because it just goes to show that somebody stabbed an innocent person, called the police, made up the narrative, and then the police ended up arresting the person that was stabbed, and he bled out in their custody. That's disgusting. It should absolutely have everybody watching this video and their mother worried about the current state of wokeism. It's fucking terrifying.
absolutely shocking behaviour here.
And here's what the Prime Minister of UK said. Okay, listen to Keir Starmer. What a goof.
Was a kind, thoughtful, and much-loved young man. And this has understandably been devastating for his parents, for his family, and everybody who knew him. And I have seen the body cam footage. It's harrowing. And I have to say, as a father of a 17-year-old boy, I felt sick watching it. It is absolutely right that the IOPC are looking at this. There are clearly serious questions that need to be addressed, not least how accusations of racism informed the decision-making in this case. But my thoughts, I'm sure the thoughts of everybody in the country, with Henry's family. His life has been stolen, and they are understandably devastated, and that is where I start on this.
Henry said he'd been stabbed 4 times. The policeman said, "I don't think so, mate," handcuffed him, and he died. What's going on? Are police too afraid of being seen as racist to ignore a dying white student? What lessons can we learn from this?
The body cam footage is really harrowing. It's a really, really hard piece of footage to watch, and to hear those exchanges and to think of that young man in those circumstances. As I say, I felt sick watching it. It was really difficult to watch, and anybody who's seen it will have gone through, I think, exactly the same emotion. It is really important to acknowledge, therefore, that are searching questions for the police that are going to have to be answered. The IOPC is obviously carrying out its investigation. It's right that they're given all that they need to get to the bottom of this. But I do think included in that will have to be this question of how accusations, allegations of racism informed or fed into the decision-making in that particular case, because it is impossible to watch that footage and not appreciate that those questions absolutely have to be answered. It's impossible to watch that footage and not think first and foremost of Henry's family and friends and everybody who knew.
The problem is that you did this. You allowed these invaders to come into the country. You allowed the streets to be filled with third world degenerates. And you led the freaking charge on this whole like, oh, that's racist. Oh, I'm offended. That's misogynistic, woke crap. This needs to stop. It's almost a badge of honor now. I'm not saying go out and act a certain way to be called this next thing that I'm about to say, but it's almost a badge of honor to be called racist in today's day and age, because anything you say that is a contrary opinion to the white Karens out there, oh my God, that's racist. How dare you? Sometimes, most of the time in this context, it's not actually racism. Anyways, that's the video. I don't know how to end this video, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Protests are coming in. Protests are coming in the masses. I can just feel it in my bones, man. This I Can't Breathe is gonna erupt this week. So stay tuned. Hit the like, subscribe, turn post notifications on, because it's protest season and people are pissed.